So today is a lesson in staying positive. I'm coming at you with some positive vibes today. I feel like a lot of things have been very negative in this world. And, in my life personally, obviously I don't need to bore you with the problems I'm going through. But today, there's nothing really that's positive to talk about. There's been nothing really that exciting to talk about the last couple of days. Like I had some very terrible days from a personal perspective. So it's the best thing to kind of focus on, like, what is good? What is the good that is in your life? What is the good that you have? The gifts that you have. And in this episode, I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to be focusing on just the great things and giving you a message to stay positive. We know that it is the hardest to stay positive and stay optimistic about things in your life when you're going through the difficult times, when you're in that midst of the struggle. You're going through it, right? You're going through the pains. It is hard to be positive. It's super easy to be positive, happy-go-lucky, and I've had these moments in my own life too where, nothing's going wrong, right? So you're positive, you wake up, you're feeling great, you're happy, you're ready to go. I've had times in my life where that was the case. And, it's much harder when you're actually going through that difficult period in your life to stay positive, to look at the bright side of things. So this episode is going to be doing exactly that for you. It's a bit of a reminder. It's a reminder for you to allow yourself to focus on the things that actually are good in your life rather than the things that are bad. And in each and every one of our lives, we have difficulties. You don't need to say what they are. If you do, that's great. But we have difficulties, we have problems, we have struggles, we deal with things each and every day. But we're still alive. We're still here. We still have food on the table. We still have a roof over our heads. A lot of times people just forget to be grateful in that way. Forget to recognize just how it is. And that's actually a technique I used a few days ago when I had just such a terrible day. Like when I tell you everything went wrong, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, like I'm being 100% true. That day, at the end of the day, I actually didn't feel too terrible. Why? Because I realized, you know what, everything went wrong today, but I'm still alive. I'm still here. I'm still showing up at home, even if I'm super late. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you why. Showing up at home. I'm able to go to bed tonight, take a nice hot shower, and eat some food, and I have tomorrow to do better. Like just realizing that, just mentally kind of, putting my mindset into that state that you could be focusing on all the bad things that happened in the day, but instead being like, you know what, it sucked, but it's okay. I'm still super lucky to be here. I'm super lucky to have this opportunity, and I'm lucky to have the chance to try again and do better the next day. Just thinking about that allowed me to go to bed not feeling so terrible, not feeling like complete garbage, but actually being, quite happy, quite content, and quite thankful, even if it was such a terrible day. That's kind of how, being positive mindset actually has to be in your life. Always, always, always give the glory to God and be thankful to God for great gifts. Because with all the tests, first of all, tests, pains, difficulties will only help you grow anyway. But during the midst of the struggle is when it's obviously when it's the toughest, right? You want to quit. You want to stop. You don't know where things are going to go. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown. It's all kind of just beating at your chest and in your mind. The best thing you can do is to just take a step back, stay centered, and be like, yeah, I'm still alive, man. I still have this life. I still have many years, many days ahead. I still have the chance to do better tomorrow, right? I still have, or I can grind super, super hard today, and tomorrow I can take a lighter day. That's the beauty of life, right? You can have good days, you can have bad days, you can have hard days, you can have light days. That's fine. You have to have a good balance of everything that works well for you. You're going to go through bad seasons. Bad seasons are absolutely part of life. But the more positive you can stay, if you're able to keep that mindset that, you know what, this will pass eventually. I'm still alive. I'm going to be alive. I'm going to be okay. I'm not going to die because of this bad situation that's happening, this emotional turmoil that's happening to me. The more you can stay like that, you can turn a few bad days in a bad season to good days. And then the more good days you have, the less of a bad season it actually is. If even you manage to turn it into just a mid-season, or you turn it into a positive season. It's all down to mindset more so than it is down to the things you're actually experiencing. Because again, as I said before, it's easy to be positive when good things are happening in your life, but it's so much harder, but much more beneficial to you if you stay positive, you stay optimistic, you stay content and happy when you're in the midst of the struggle and the pain and the difficulty. That's why God's testing you. He's testing your character. He's testing your faith. He's testing how much resolve you truly have. And you'll be able to go farther. You'll be able to make more happen if you stick with that positive, optimistic mindset in your worst moments. I know it's easier said than done. Me in my life, it's tough. I had that day a couple days ago, which I already talked about, where I did stay positive even through a bad day. But that's not always the case with me. I understand. I understand completely. I speak from my own personal experiences. That it's much easier said than done to stay positive when there's nothing to be positive about. But that's what I'm doing today. That is why I'm making this episode of positivity. You have all of these terrible things happening in the world. Yes, they exist, right? Today I had probably some of the worst, weirdest, craziest dreams that messed me up, and made me wake up. I woke up super late because of all of these crazy dreams that had kind of combined into one thing. And that kind of messed up my mindset going into today. So there's nothing really today that I'm positive, I'm happy about. But I'm still going to be positive because there's still so much of the day left. I'm recording this, it's about 11:30. So, that is what you got to do. And here's going to be a little bit of a kind of like reassurance, let's say, as to your life. You could have it worse. You could have it worse. You're so lucky to be in the position you're in, regardless of where you're at. You could be in a war-torn country. You could be losing your family members. You could be dying of a severe sickness. You could be hungry. You could be on the street and homeless. You could have nowhere to sleep at night. You could have, dirty drinking water, and you can't have water to drink. There are places in the world where this is exactly the case. But I imagine that the vast majority of you watching are not in any of those situations. God bless you. I pray for your hearts and I pray for your souls if any one of you are in that situation. But I imagine that you're not. You're not. You're probably similarly to what I am. I have a house, a roof over my head. I don't have a ridiculous amount of money. I'm not rich by any means, but I have enough to get by. I have a roof over my head, food on the table, water to drink, a bed to sleep in, clothes on my body, amazing people around me. If you have those things, you're good. You're good. If you have those things, you're good. You don't need anything else. And whatever difficulty you're going through, just know and always remember that I still have those things. I still have my life. I'm still alive. I'm still healthy. I still have the people around me. I still have these little gifts and privileges that we all often take for granted, but many people actually don't have. It was a good thing that Andrew Tate said. Just think, someone your age has it so much worse. They receive the worst news about something that happened in their life. And that's not you. You're lucky. So given your position of luck and given your state where you are, you got to go and keep grinding. Keep making things happen. You have to use the position you've been given, that God has granted you His grace by putting you in a good position in life. Use it to the maximum. Use it to the fullest. Use your advantage as much as you can to make something happen in your life. Rather than just sitting there, wallowing away in your, oh, this happened to me, poor me, victimhood mentality, right? I don't have to go too deep into that. That's destructive. That destroys people. That leads you to misery and despair. Always complaining, always being in that mindset. It is just that much more noble, and that is why I'm preaching this today. To be positive. What positivity looks like is exactly that. Everything can go wrong, but you still look at the good things you have in your life. And if you focus on the good things you have in your life, you make those bad seasons, those bad times, just a little bit better. And you're able to push through even further, and you're only decreasing the chances of you actually quitting, and you're increasing the chance of you continuing on to seeing the pursuit to its end and seeing the problems, I guess, and whatever issues you're dealing with to their ends. And then you'll find the answers. You'll find the answers as to, what you want to do with your life, what pursuits you want to go on, how you're going to deal with certain situations in the future, because we're always learning and growing each and every day. Being positive, being in that right headspace makes it easier to digest. It makes it easier to realize. And I think in a world where it's crowded with negativity, the best thing we need is just a bit of positivity. We just need a bit of, a little bit of a smile, be a little bit happy, enjoy the little things, enjoy the small things, because sometimes there's nothing else you got to enjoy. Sometimes you have everything else going wrong, but you still have the little things. So if you focus on the good, it makes the bad just that more tolerable. So be positive. Know that whatever situation you're going through, whatever difficult time, it will pass. You will get through it. God does not tempt you past further than what you're able to withhold, that you're able to tolerate. He does not tempt you past that. Even if it feels overwhelming, you're going to get through it. Your life's not going to be that much different. Maybe you'll be a better person. Most likely, you'll be a better person at the end of it. But if you don't see it through, if you kind of quit halfway, if you just give up and you become that person that just gives up on things when they get hard, you're never going to find the lessons. You're never going to find the positivity because you're just going to be negative the whole time. Here's one last point before I wrap this up and bring it home. If you're in a bad situation and you do everything you can to get out of it, you get out of it prematurely. You go and you're like, okay, I don't want to do this. So, I'd rather just, be at home and not have to deal with this situation, whatever it may be. You'll realize that once you're out of it, once you're out of the trouble, once you're at home and you're able to just be on the couch and do nothing all day, there's nothing fulfilling about it. You look back and you're like, maybe I should have seen that through. I don't know about you, but I've had moments in my life where that's exactly the case. Where I've gone through this thing, I really didn't want to do it. I hated every second of it. All I could think about was going home. And then once I stopped, I went home. And then the next few days were actually pretty meaningless. I was like, well, what am I doing with my days? I have nothing to do. Even if I hated everything that I was doing before, it was still stuff to do. God gives us a purpose. We are purpose driven. Even if you hate what you're doing, or even if you hate the situation you're currently in, it's still something that's happening to you. It's still a purpose in some regard. And there is some sort of a lesson at the end of it. So if you cut that short, and if you let that negative energy take you over and you just end it, end whatever, issue is you're dealing with right now, you're going to look back on it and kind of, subtly wish that you saw it through, that you continued in whatever you were dealing with for whatever reason, whether it's that internal nagging feeling or it actually would have been more beneficial for you in your life. Say that thing that you are dreading is like a tough conversation with someone where emotions are going to get heated, things are going to get bad, and you've tried to have this type of conversation before in the past, and it caused issues, and it led to everyone hating each other and feeling resentment and all this negativity, right? The negativity that exists all the time. You should still go have that conversation, whatever it may be, because even if there's negativity, at the end of it, whatever the issue is, you got it out. You're both honest with each other. You understand each other's perspectives and situations, and that only can facilitate growth. If either person closes their mind, whatever's happening happens, that's okay. At least you had the conversation. At least now you know where you both stand in terms of the issue. A difficult conversation is a good example because it's easy to avoid. It's easy to just say, yeah, no, let's not deal with this now. Let's go deal with this later. And again, I'm guilty of it. That's why I give this example, because I'm guilty of it. And it all stems from, that negativity, that fear that you're like, no, I don't want to, bring out negative vibes between us. So let's not even talk about it. But in reality, you're actually limiting what could be so much more. And then you're just kind of in that little despair, kind of thinking, maybe I should talk to them about it. And then you end up never doing it. And then you kind of have this nagging feeling inside of you. So this is why positivity is important. I'm going to bring this whole thing together, bring it home. It's about the humility that you recognize how lucky you are, even if you're going through the worst moments in your life. You recognize that you still have these little gifts that you take for granted because you're in the midst of a difficult challenge. But you have to always recognize that you're still given these great gifts. They're still alive. They're still well and healthy and ready to go. And the positivity will allow you to see it through. Looking at it from a perspective of, it's a good thing for me in the long run, even if I'm hating every second of this now. It's easier said than done, but it will actually give you so much growth and so much improvement in your life. Whereas if you take the negative route, this sucks, everything sucks, poor me, let me just get out of this as quickly as possible, then that's just going to lead to even more despair, less growth, more stagnation, and you're just going to be kind of there wondering what could have been. So stay positive for those reasons, that you have this gift of life, and in this world and in all of the things that you're dealing with, in all of the struggles and all of the challenges, in all of the arguments, it's so easy to be pessimistic, to be negative, to just, close your mind to anything else and just hating everything that is happening, hating your days, hating your life. That's what leads to depression. That's why depression exists. That's why people have it, because they're focused too much on the bad rather than being thankful for the good they have. So regardless of how tough your life is, of how many difficulties or even perceived difficulty you have, just know that someone has it worse. Someone has it worse. You're lucky in many regards. So to go out there, make meaningful change to doing better and to seeking that growth and staying positive through it all. Because the only thing you can control is your attitude. That is the only thing you can control. You cannot control if someone gets mad at you for something. You cannot control if you get an injury. You're playing a sport, you get an injury. You can't really control that. You can do as much as you can, but really at the end of the day, sometimes you make a slip and you roll your ankle, you're out for a couple months. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about other people. There's nothing you can do about circumstantial issues. There's nothing you can do about a setback. There's nothing you can do about losing money. There's nothing you can do about any of it. The only thing you can really control is the attitude you have through the greatest struggles. And if you stay positive, you'll get through and life will be absolutely amazing for you each and every day. But if you're negative, pessimistic, you're only going to fall into that spiral, into that hole of just complete depression. So be positive. In a world where it's hard to, I understand. Be positive. Stay strong. Stay bold. And stay positive about the great things in your life, because there are many. There are many great things. So find them, mentally wrap your head around them, and be appreciative for them. That is what God wants us to do each and every day. He doesn't want us to just sit around and do nothing. He wants us to stay positive. He wants us to grow our faith stronger. Know that these tests, these difficulties are growing our faith. So stay positive through it all, man. Trust me, if you have an issue, you can send me a message. I'll be here for you. There will be other people in your life that will be there for you to help you out. Even through, your toughest moments. But stay positive, man. Stay positive, because it's not all doom and gloom, truly. You can look at this life and look at this world and see it as this terrible place. But really, there's still so much good that happens each and every day. And you, the individual person, can be a facilitator of even more good works, so long as you come at every single situation with the right mindset. The right mindset being positive, being optimistic, and ready and eager for what's to come rather than fearful.